Hello! We're live. There we go. We are waiting and seeing if we get a response, if everything's working fine, which it usually is. If you are currently tuning in at the beginning of the stream because it's halfway through and you wanted to watch at the beginning, you can switch to double speed to catch up with what's going on as long as you're quick enough. Which is always cool. Makes sense to mention that because currently no one's watching. Might as well address the people who will be watching later. Yep, we're live and people are arriving. Hello. That is... I was going to start with the whole saying everyone's names, but I've got a very tough one to start. Tim Schilleringhout? Potentially. Commando Aim Games. Maxil Boya. Not CJ. And many other people. Hello, Cloud. Everyone's arriving. Everything's working. It's a good sign. Alright. We'll start recording, because why not? I like to have a backup recording in case the stream fails, because that's entirely possible. This is YouTube. Nothing is guaranteed in terms of technology. But I reckon we should get on with things before it all crashes and burns. So let us start the game up and switch over. There we go. All is good. We're in Ribbonworld again. For the third time. Made a decent bit of progress last time. We got a bit of a main bus going. Not this stuff here. This is now the sort of old stuff that is becoming obsolete. But our science is here. And we haven't yet added this to the main bus. So we will probably be doing that today. That seems like the logical next course of action. Yeah, there's our power. And then we got our... Let's just switch to the map. Got our main bus over here, and then we ran into an issue of there was a giant iron deposit. Well, not giant really, but there was an iron deposit of decent size in the way that we would either have to mine or pave over. So I was going to mine it, but that would take a while. So what I said is that between episodes, or between streams, I would just leave the game running for the 2 hours it would take and mine it all out, and then we could just continue on our way with a huge stockpile of iron. I've not done that, it's still there. But it's okay, because someone pointed out that all I need to do is put a bunch of underground belts along and have the miners slightly more spaced. And there's the railway, always nice to have. We've researched that. What should we do next? More railway stuff, because we might as well start with stations and signals and all that as well. So yeah, I'm just going to put a bunch of underground belts and then we can just mine it while carrying on our way. And it shouldn't interfere with things too much. Most of the stuff we need for production in this area will be off of this belt and a little bit off one of these. That one, I guess. So, I reckon we'll be fine. I'm sure it'll be fine. I've planned this out. Do we have red belts? We do. We can do underground belts. They have a gap of 6. You can fit 2 miners in between each, so that will work very nicely. What's chat saying? By the way, if anything weird happens in terms of the frame rate, or the quality, or the audio balancing, then shout about it a lot in all caps in the comments, and I will be more likely to notice it sooner and fix it. And yeah, I used the new YouTube community feature today, whatever that is. I don't know what that is. Does it ping everyone when I write stuff in there? I don't know how it works. YouTube just like, hey, you should use this. You can like poll your viewers or something with it. Like, okay, so how does it work? Is there any information? Is there like a little tooltip that'll tell me how it works? No? Okay, sure. So it might ping people, or it might just chuck it out into the ether in the hope that someone finds it. I don't really know. Is it good that you're playing Factorio while watching me playing Factorio? Yes, that means you are approaching the optimal amount of Factorio to be experiencing at any one time. You just caught up with my Let's Play with Peachy and Sheepdog. Well, good news for you. We recorded another session on Wednesday. And I have a video of that ready to... Well, sort of not quite ready to publish. It'll come out tomorrow, that's my thinking. Tomorrow there will be another hour of that. Unfortunately, I'm going to have to ration it quite a bit because we're going to be on a break for 2 weeks. Because I'm going to be too damn busy in the middle of weeks to be able to turn up for the streams. So it'll be spread out, I'm afraid. There won't be much of it coming. I will try and have other things in the meantime Unlike normally, where I just don't put out videos for like a week, like I did this time. It happens sometimes. I will try and avoid it. This is an attempt to remedy it. Lights, yes, good advice. We've got a fair bit. Well, we've got lights where we can have lights. We're missing them where we can't. So, you know, the actual powered bits are. Just when I'm walking through the middle of nowhere, you won't be able to see what I'm doing. So that's fine. Ish. It's acceptable. Right, we're going to keep running these down to here, and then we're going to tackle the problem of belting over them. Actually, we can probably leave it for a little bit. Just get as much mining done as we can before we actually start to tear it down. And reduce the production. Of course, I'll significantly reduce the production if I destroy a vital power pole while the miners are running. But there we go, we can run this along. That's a bit of room to be working with. In fact, we can sort of just... As long as we don't need copper, which we will immediately, we don't even need to extend any of the other belts. Actually, we need copper for red science, and I can just do red science here. So we can actually just run off these 4 belts for a little while. And not have to worry about the massive iron deposit that's in the way of everything. We'll just have to worry about the million trees. Oh, someone asking how this works. Why is my map rectangular? It is a ribbon. It is a thin strip of land that extends infinitely in either direction. And that is the challenge. I must survive in this weird and wacky type of world. It's not particularly challenging. I've not made the difficulty very high. I've left the thing quite wide. It's, what is it, 64 tiles? So it's not crazy, but it is a vastly different kind of playthrough as a result of being in a line than otherwise. And that's the thing I care about, not about it being a particularly tough challenge with lots of biters and really small spaces. I just want to see what it's like to only have 2 directions you can travel and build in. And certain limitations on the space that you have. And yes, the description has basically what I just said, in other words. You love my trains, can't wait for them to come up. Yeah, we've got all the rail stuff being researched. I want to run a rail line along the entire bottom edge of the map. So basically the bottom 8 tiles will be reserved for that. I could shrink it, actually. I could make it 6 tiles and have the rails closer to each other, because the spacing doesn't matter that much between them. There just needs to be enough room to have signals, and that's fine. So we can probably do it like that. I don't think there's any reason not to have it as compressed as that. Just a rail, signal, signal, rail. So that'll be a neat thing to mess around with. We'll have to have double-headed trains, but there won't be any loops. We won't have room for loops. We do have to worry about the space situation. Right, let's do things. Let's build stuff. I want to make some red science. Piece of cake to do. We're basically just recreating the science system we already have over at the other end of our factory. I think it's 5 assemblers for red science. Yep, takes 5 seconds, so 5 assemblers. Gives you a science per second, except it doesn't, because assembling machines are weird, and there is no assembling machine that actually makes things at a rate of 1. Because these make it at 0.75, and then the other ones make it at 1.25. It's weird and silly. What next? I think I shall invent the automobile. Don't particularly need one. Actually, it would be fairly useful. We've got long distances to travel going back and forth. As long as I don't leave it behind when I go somewhere, which I will. I admit. There we go. So yeah, the science will just... let's move this over to here. But now that doesn't... Why do that? I don't know why I'm caring so much about trying to use the minimum number of power poles right now. It's not like we're struggling for trees. How is having too much iron a problem? Just store it in chests. Yeah, but the problem is how quick we mine it. We're mining it as fast as we can, and some clever person calculated it would take 2 hours to mine. And in 2 hours' time, we want to be well past where that deposit is. So that's the unusual situation. And so what we're currently doing is we're belting it down all the way across through this mess with a little bit of spaghetti into our smelting area, where there's actually still excess iron ore, which is going into storage over here. It is a short-term problem. In the long term, you can never have too much iron. But in the short term, it's definitely a pain. Right, I will split the gears off here, have them run like that. Then we'll have the copper, some more belts of the copper, go this way. That's all good. Now we're making red science. Next up, green. We'll just have that right next to the red. This one's 6 assemblers, isn't it? Ah, yes, so there's just been a new Factorio Friday Facts literally like an hour ago or whatever. And it introduced cliffs, which will be implemented in the next update, I believe. Definitely an interesting idea. I'm looking forward to seeing how it affects how you play. But yeah, there is now going to be vaguely three-dimensional terrain. Basically, it's going to be like cliffs in Pokemon, that sort of style, where, like, there's no visible slopes or anything, but if you walk from one bit to another, then there's a part where you can then hop down. And so it's like simulated three-dimensional ground. In reality, everything's still 2D. There are just now barriers that represent drops, that sort of thing. And it's going to make building certain things a little bit more difficult. They've made it so it's not going to exist in the center of a map, which is very nice. So you can still have room to build your factories in the center without having major issues with these cliffs ruining your life. But further out, there's going to be plenty of them, and you're going to have to work out how to build around them, or you're just going to have to research the cliff demolition stuff, the cliff explosives. I forget what they called them. It was a weird name, because it was like they were explosives specifically for blowing up cliffs and cliffs alone, which obviously don't exist in real life. And you will use those to blow up the cliffs and make space, so on. Now, this is going to be a pain. That's not the end of the world. Just a case of how we fit these in. I might actually just have this belt go down this way. Then we have these somewhere. Oh, there's the car. I know, electric engine next. Nothing particularly urgent right now. I think we're going to get behind on science. We're going to have everything researched and no new science stuff being done, because we're already running out of red and green science, and I'm only just setting up the main bus version of the red and green science. That doesn't make sense. I need to put them somewhere else. I will just have... Actually, oh, we can do that, and then a bit of messing about here, maybe. Have them run into belts that do that and split. Trying to be compressed, because compression is convenient. We should never need more than these two to supply all this stuff, I do believe. What we could benefit from is some storage chests. So I may do that. Make it a little bit more space. I'll leave this here, and then we'll work out where we would need to put the chests for stuff to happen, things to work. Make a couple of wooden chests. That'll help us position things. I mean, this can be stretched out as I like, I suppose. It's not a problem, so we can just have this. Do we need to store standard inserters? It can be convenient too. Yeah, we'll do that. Put that there, put that there. Run a couple belts along here. And then I need to remind myself what they would be. Let's do it like that. One of everything. One of iron and gears, but half as often. So yeah, I think iron and gears on this line and then circuits on this line makes a decent bit of sense. Let's just send this underground for a little bit, get it out of the way. Then we got to start worrying about this interfering with things. Let's get our underground here because we know that's going to exist. Then we want that to go there and then bring that round to the side, so this one can just hop onto the side here. I think that is the best course of action. Something like that. And then this can split off here and go around here. And then it's just a case of working out how on earth we fit in the circuits. I'm going to say we do this. Getting a little bit spaghetti-y. But this is fine. I want to try and make it so it actually properly merges, so we'll want to step this back a bit. Trying to make it vaguely future-proof so things can carry on running normally, even while this is being wacky. So that goes underground, restarts over there, and then this can do that. There we go, it works, it definitely works. And a couple of these. Nice and central for the look of the thing. This doesn't even need to run this far. You know what? We could have probably just like stuck an underground. Not an underground. We could have just stuck a. You know what? I've never sort of been in the position where I can do that before, but that actually seems like a very nice, convenient way of doing this. I'm gonna have none of this rubbish. I'm just gonna put. Ah, damn it! I can't. Oh, you know what? I'm just gonna make a red one because this will probably all be blue later for whatever reason. Yeah, I can totally just. Whoops! I clicked a random thing. I don't want that. I want. Why are modules? It's such a like. I never use modules till like really late game. It's weird that you can research the basics of them so soon. Makes a bit of sense. Just in case you want to use it, let's do like inserter capacity and stuff. That's often useful. But there we go. We can just totally have that right there. Take them straight off the main bus itself, and that isn't a problem really. Where did that go? When did I remove that? Put that back. That fixed. Whoops. Fixed that. There. Look at that. Genius. Should work absolutely. Oh, what have I done? I forgot to actually set this up in any reasonable way. It's gone weird. Fix it. Remove it. Tear it down. This has to do this. And this has to do this. There we go. I missed a bit. Everything went weird for a second. It's fine now. Everything's fine. I'm going to limit that to 1 because why would I want any more than a stack of those at once? And maybe there's times where I want like 2. Am I reading chat? No. Sometimes. When I remember, which is infrequently. I sort of want to step this back a level, but actually there's no need for that. Let's just run this down here and we'll have our science labs over here. So I will go get the labs and start tearing down the old science, and while I walk I can read the chat. Let me see. We know our fans are crazy, so we added the ability to destroy the thing we just added as a feature. Oh, there would have been uproar if cliffs were not removable. There would have been riots in the streets. How am I supposed to build my straight rail lines out into the wilderness if there's cliffs everywhere? Terrible. Why 2 lines of circuits? Because in late game you need a crap ton of circuits. You need more circuits than any other particular thing, really. Apart from the things that you need to make the circuits. So iron's not looking great. All our furnaces are operational. No, they're not, because we have bad compression. I will remedy this with fancy things. And I'll do it on the other side just in case it's needed. And that should be a little bit better. But overall, we need more smelting. We'll have to see about that. Modules are early because they're required in a science pack. Well, not until later on, I think. It's, what is it? It's the, like... I think it's the orange, but the yellow science packs that need it. Yeah, that's like the last one you make, apart from space science. If I remember rightly. Why no videos in a while? Because I'm terrible at things. Combination of busy with roll for it stuff, busy with real life stuff. Lazy is another one, definite factor. Shouldn't be ignored. Probably the main one, really. I don't know, at the moment I feel like I need a new series. Occasionally happens where, like, I suddenly don't particularly feel like recording any certain thing. And what I need is something new to be excited about. So I'll probably look for such a game fairly soon. Yeah, let's just kill the science production over on this end. No more of that. We'll leave that running because it's convenient to have a whole bunch of belts being made all the time. And now all this should slowly die. So that's nice. How many labs do we have? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. We already have the 20. I already built the full 20 labs that I would particularly want to make. Can you even fit those in a line? Because that's what... No, that's 30 tiles. We'll have to actually double them up to be able to fit the science in the space we have. So that's new. That's going to result in some slight weirdness as to how we design it. There'll have to be a bit of a like a U-turn in the whole system, basically like I've done here, but a lot more elegant looking. And less compressed into random space. Yeah, one thing I intend to do is more live streams. And so far, that is starting to be a thing. I've done 3 in recent times. 1 spin tires, 2 of this. Wasn't going to be playing Ribbonworld today. I was ready to do another one, but I was intending to play Cortex Command for a couple of hours, because that's always fun. That's a game you can always go back to after a while. And OBS just doesn't seem to want to acknowledge its existence. Couldn't get anything but a black screen. Cortex is a bit weird in how it works, as far as I can tell. It's one of those games where you just know that it's going to be a bit tricky when it comes to getting it to work with recording software. So I had a suspicion that it might not work. And so when it didn't, I just abandoned it and went for this instead. Because who doesn't love a bit more Ribbonworld? Everyone seemed to like it last time. I enjoy doing it. Some more of this and also other games. Maybe not Cortex, because as we found, problem. But there's definitely other games on the list of things I'd like to give a shot with streaming. The sort of thing, like there's a lot of games where I feel like videos don't work so well, but live streams do. And so I'm excited now that I am streaming more to actually try some of those out. More lights. There we go. Even though I'm about to remove all this. So yeah, right. We need to switch to red signs to clear out what's left in the main bit. Makes it a little bit easier than having to pick up all the science packs and move them. Actually, that's a piece of cake. I don't know why I'm so concerned about it as a problem. Oh, I should have got rid of the inserters first. They're dumping random gears on the ground. This is no good. Cortex is fun, but aggravating in ways? How so? Do you mean aggravating in the technical sense of having the technical issues? Because I can agree on that. Getting it to work with controllers has been a massive pain in previous times. There's a lot of little annoyances with how that game runs, but when you actually get to play it, it's great. It's the best. Labs can have inserters to other labs. Well, that's amazing. I didn't know that. Wait, maybe I did know that, but I'd forgotten that. But I've remembered it now, and now I've remembered it. That's fantastic. We'll do some experimenting with that then. We'll see how that works. We can make something work with that. I don't know. Like what I would have is I'd have 3 science packs on one side, 4 on the other, of a 2-wide array. And then I have inserters running between the two, but they might loop the science packs endlessly, which would be a bit of a pain. It might not work out fantastically. I mean, it's not like it's going to be a huge waste of power if that happens, but it seems a bit of a silly way to do things. But I'll absolutely try it and see how it fares. It might work okay. The controls are crap. Not hugely, I'd say. I mean, if you're using... Depends what you're using, I suppose. I guess those things are a matter of opinion. We're working on that already. Let's get back to that. We won't be doing any of it because we don't have any green signs currently running into science labs. Oh, again, I need to remove the inserters first or it'll dump all the signs on the ground. I also need to remove the inserters before picking up the signs they've dumped on the ground. It'll dump more science on the ground. I will be in an endless cycle of littering and delittering. How much time playing Factorio? I mean, how much time have I spent playing Factorio overall? In this game, I've been playing for just over 4 hours. Overall, multiple thousands is probably the case. You wouldn't tell from how I play. You'd say a couple hundred at most. But, yeah, I've been playing Factorio for ridiculous amounts of time. And it must be in, like, well over 1,000, if not multiple thousands, which is far, far more than any other game I've ever played. It is my favourite game, as well as my most played. The annoying thing is, I don't have actual numbers, because I was playing it for like 2.5 years before it even came out on Steam. And so, hard to say, but I know that I have over 300 hours on Steam alone, and I barely play on my Steam copy. I usually play on copies that I downloaded from the website because I bought it from the website originally, and then I also bought it from Steam because honestly they deserve my money. And yeah, so many hours. Many hours. And yeah, it is good to get it on the website because then you can have multiple copies that you use for different like combinations of mods and stuff. I mean, you cannot just do all that on one copy, but I'd like it to be nicely sorted that way. And so on my PC, I've only got a Steam copy at the moment, but on my laptop, my old laptop, I have, I think, 7 different copies for all different random things. So get it on the website, is what I'm saying, if you don't somehow already own it. Right, let's see if this works. I don't know if it really will, but it's worth a shot. So we'll put in, we just need these for now, on this side. And then we'll run 1,000,000 of these. That's the signs running. And then we'll do the same in the middle. And then on the outside. And then we'll see what happens if we do this. It does just... Well, actually... Oh, no, they have... Oh, wait. They act a bit weird. They definitely act a little bit weird. But they are getting the science done. So I think this is a tactic to be nice and simple and compressed. And getting things moving seems to be a bit of a challenge. But once the science is running, it's running. Yeah, I don't know, like... Long term, this might not be a good solution. But it's also so nice and compressed and simple. And space saving. I'm sorry, Subramda Best. I meant to stream earlier, but it was one of those things of every hour it was like, oh, now there's this thing that needs to happen. And now this thing I was going to do after the stream, I need to do before the stream because I don't have enough time anymore. And it just carried on like that, and now it's very late. The reason I don't look like a 1,000-hour player is because I don't steal designs. Yeah, that is actually... Yeah, that is a part of it. I don't watch other people play very much because that would... I just copy their things. I'd rather come up with my own ways of solving problems than taking designs from others. It's not like a bad thing to take designs from others, but I don't think it... I think it makes the game less fun overall. Less satisfying. So I've never really watched other people play. And so every design I... Like, well, there's very few designs that I have seen and gone, oh yeah, that makes sense, I'll use that. But most things I've ended up coming up with myself, which is, you know, and then I can be really proud of them because they're mine. So what I'm saying is stop watching. Why are you watching? You shouldn't be. You're ruining your own experience of Factorio. Please don't leave. I need the views. It was a mistake. I shouldn't have given this advice. What have I done? There we go with that. More of that, I guess? Is there anything else we need? No. More of this so our inserters can run better. I don't know, what do you guys think about this weird wacky science thing? Do you think it makes sense? I'm concerned that when we have very low amounts of research, we won't be able to do science because they'll just be passed around the labs endlessly. But maybe I'm overthinking this and everything will be fine. There's alternatives as well to how we do this. We could have, if we... Let me see. These could only transport this far. If we had lots of little split-offs going into them, then we could have a slightly less compressed version of this that is still too wide. If we have a gap of 1 in between each lab, we can have the belt running in. And we'll need 2 belts running in, though. I don't know. Why do I want to return science packs in the first lab? Well, because later on there's going to be science packs coming from this end that are loaded into these ones and will need transferring across, so I have to have this loop, which is not ideal. Yeah, there is a mod directory launch option thing now and stuff with Factorio, but I like to have it neatly compartmentalized. Part of it is that I've got hundreds of different save games at this point, and I just need different like versions of Factorio just to try and sort them into vanilla and modded, and then having dedicated ones occasionally for a particular Factorio series. Usually the multiplayer ones. I've got a Massa one and an Amass one, and all that sort of thing. Oh, yes! Genius! Use filter inserters to only pass them in one direction. Fantastic thinking. Well done. I'm totally doing that. What's your name? Where are you? Norstein Beckler, well done. That is genius. You have solved my problem. We can move on. I will implement them now, even though we don't need them right now. Just so that it's ready for later. Did other people suggest that? Probably. It's actually DM Dark Matter suggested it quicker. So thank you as well to you, and anyone else who said it early on. Two heads, or indeed 178 heads, are better than one. So we'll filter these for this, and also space science will be loaded on that side. Copy that to all the right-facing ones. And then on this side, filter all the other kinds. These ones. Fantastic, perfect, brilliant, awesome. That is our science problem solved. That should work wonderfully. Let's move on. Okay, so let's just underground belt these for the moment. How goes the mining work? One miner is done. Which is a bad thing, if anything. We want as many miners running as possible to break down the deposit as fast as possible. Made a lot of progress. It was at like 200k at the end of last stream, I think. So we're getting there. One annoying thing is that as it progresses, the deposit will shrink, less miners will be mining, and it will take longer to clear out the last little bits. Right. What do we want to do next? We've got that running now, so we can potentially leave that for a while, but it would be nice to have military science. Does require steel and coal, which would need to be belted down here, and, yeah. So perhaps we'll delay that a bit, just a smidge, and come back to it later. I know, I'm copying the guy's idea. I admit I'm now being a hypocrite and immediately going against my own advice. But I was asking people, so I feel like that's fair. Bit of power where we can fit it. Should we set up the rest of these inserters and stuff just to get that out of the way? It'll annoy that one guy. Can't remember who it was. But I'm totally going to do it for that reason. I could do this much later. Much, much later. But I won't. And then it's all ready for when the science arrives, and we don't need to worry about it again. There we go, there's our science array. And I realise we now immediately need to remove that. Well, we can put the lights there. That fits very nicely. We'll have to remove that one though. There we go. You see, now we're too efficient with our power pole spacing. There's not actually any room for lights. That doesn't need to be there. Can we fit a light there? Nope. Yep, we are using our power poles to the absolute fullest. Even that little tile down there. Very proud of myself. That's all good. Need some lights over here. We've forgotten about this. Up there with the science. I don't know, flight, I guess. That'll take a while to get through. What is everyone saying? How much did you miss? Not much, only... Okay, a fair bit. 35 minutes. Wow, time flies. It's the Factorio effect. I thought it had been like 20 minutes. It's been twice as long. I should be immune to this by now. I've been playing for years. You'd think I would have been able to compensate for the time dilation. But there is this wonderful feature of YouTube live streams where if you go and watch them back from the start, you can watch them back at double speed and catch up, if you can understand what I'm saying at double speed. Which admittedly is, like, extremely difficult if, like, you're, say, not a native English speaker, of course. Oh, we're actually using up all the science we're making. Shouldn't the ratio be better than that? Maybe it's just taking time to build up or whatever. Now, we've got a lot of labs to start. I'm concerned about the times when... Oh, of course, because the labs are finishing at the same time, so all of the science packs from this lab are being dumped into this one, not setting the science off. So it's slightly slower than if we had 20 of them set up normally, because they can't quite... Yeah, look at that. That's a shame, but it's not the end of the world. It's not a major issue. What I could have done is have all 4 belts running down the middle, but that's difficult to implement with all the underground belts you need. I think it's doable, though. So that's an option as well. Perhaps that is the better option overall, but we've done that now, and that is neat. I like the idea of it, so we'll leave that as it is. Show rocks and stuff. Anything above 1.25 times makes your head hurt. Yeah, that's fair enough. There are, like... For me, it's easy to watch my own videos in 2 times speed, because I know my own accent very well. And also, I remember saying the things. And so for me, it is very easy, but for other people, it might be quite difficult to keep track of things. That is fair. But it's an option. And it is useful. I need to speak at half speed, of course. That's the future. These belts are looking a lot better now. I was expecting them to be worse, because it's running at full speed. Oh, no, it's stopping a bit. Yeah, I don't know how well the smelting is holding up. It seems to be holding up fine. Ah, of course, it was struggling for a while because we had 2 different science systems running at once. Now the other one is gone. It's running a lot nicer again. Is it running as well as it could, though? Yeah, everything's full. No, it's fine then. We're just going to blast through the science. Everything will be fine. We're just got to wait on the iron ore to be mined. Damn it. This is slowly filling up, but a lot of it is just going straight into smelting, so we don't need a huge amount of storage, I would imagine. How's this going? We already have... Oh, I've got crap tons of science on me. Let's go dump that. While I walk, let's read. I need fast inserters on the left, on the side. Well, the thing is... I could put the fast inserters on that side. But... hold on. Fluid wagon, I guess? I don't know. Getting ready for oil, I guess. But yeah, I could put fast inserters, and that would help for now. But later on, when the new sciences are well, not implemented, they exist. When I add the new science to the system, any other science packs that are on the outer belts, then they'll be relying on the long-armed inserters, which are slower than fast inserters. So overall... We'll still have the delay, it'll just be different inserters responsible for it, the red ones, not these. In the meantime, I could make these blue. Ah, we'll do it, why not? It'll help a little bit in the meantime and for certain sciences, so perhaps that's the best way. I just wasn't bothering with it before because I don't think it'll make a huge difference in the grand scheme of things. But there we go. It's fine as it is, it keeps 2 to 3 in its inventory. 1 yellow can feed 5 to 10 labs. Yeah, but there's like delays on them. Yeah, because you can see there that it does shut down. They do get emptied out because the way it loads them. I could... You know what, if I override the stack size to 1, that might actually improve the situation. So let's just run that down the system. Go, that did work. Same for this. I think that'll help a bit. It definitely won't hinder, so might as well give it a shot. And it'll mean that it can't empty these quite as fast. And now we'll have a quick look to see if any of these shut down still. Nope. Bit of it. Oh, but that might be related to the fact that the belt is emptying. Yeah, I think that's fixed it, because now they have to transfer them one at a time, which means that these inserters can respond quick enough to fill up the first one before it has been emptied by these. Yep, fantastic. We need fast long-armed inserters and stacked long-arm inserters. Stack would be excessive, fast would be nice. As it is, I think they are slightly faster than standard inserters, so it is a little bit of an upgrade. But it'd be nicer if there was more of an increase, and so like they were halfway between slow and fast inserters, maybe. But the limitations they have are what form the challenge, and that's what you want to sort of care about, is maintaining the challenge. If you were able to make, it's like some of the stuff you get at like the end of Bob's mods and stuff, where it's like god modules that give you infinite production rates. They sort of work in that because there's stupid amounts of stuff you need to make in Bob's mods, but having that sort of thing, having like purple belts and turbo inserters and loaders is an important one. That can remove parts of the challenge of the game and make it so that certain things just become chores instead of challenges, like setting up loading systems. If you just have a loader, it's such a ridiculous piece of cake that it's just a chore, and there's no challenge of working out how to get throughput and stuff like that. So I was happy when they decided not to have loaders, but instead have stack inserters, because it meant that throughput was still something you had to be concerned about. But then, of course, because the Factorio devs are awesome, they left them in the game as a thing that you can activate using mods, and then use in certain scenarios. Right, what should we work on? I would like to try and wait for that to be done and get on with other things in the meantime. We are not killing biters over there. We are not killing biters over there. We do have a gap in the walls there. I want to work out exactly how many, because there is no need for more than the 128 walls that we would ever need. So I'm guessing we need 28 more walls. Let's go add 28 walls. People are talking in, I think, Spanish, so I'm afraid I can't answer you because I do not speak Spanish. If it is even Spanish, I'm not sure. I did read the Friday facts. It's not hills, per se, as far as I'm aware. It's just cliffs, right? I only skimmed it because I was setting up for this, or at least planning to, before getting delayed again. But, it was my understanding that it's just cliffs that are being added, not also hills, because I don't know what purpose hills would serve. Because the cliffs still fit with the 2D design. As I said earlier, it's the Pokemon style of cliff, where there is no actual change in elevation. It's just the perspective makes it look like there's a change in elevation to add some fake 3D to the map. So it's that style of cliff. So it acts as a barrier. I don't think you can jump down them, which is a shame. Maybe you can, in which case that will be fun. I want to drive tanks off cliffs and see what happens. But yeah, they are just sort of natural barriers in the landscape, and cliffs is the plot reason, I suppose, or whatever you'd call it, the in-game logic for it. Blue signs, maybe. I usually set up military signs first. Like, what does blue signs require? I forget because it's changed. Yeah, blue signs requires oil. Oil takes time. So I usually set up military signs in the meantime to give the labs something to do while I go through the laborious task of setting up the oil system. I don't like the oil system. If it didn't exist, the game might feel like it was missing a bit of something in the mid-game. But man, are pipes and stuff a pain. Like, I worked out pre-made builds for oil, and I just use them every time, because I don't want to mess about making new stuff. Except the pre-made builds won't necessarily work in a Ribbonworld, because they are quite... They usually stretch in, like, at least two, like, right-angled directions off into the countryside as I extend 1 million coal liquefaction refineries stuffed with productivity modules, because I can't be bothered getting more oil. I can probably be bothered getting more oil on this map, because the rails will go past them anyway. That's the thing. Just by default, the rail network will pass every deposit. And so I won't need to go to particular lengths to build new outposts. You're just watching my Kingdoms and Castles series, wondering if I would ever start a new save. I did start one in a live stream a while back. I called it King's Landing, of course. And I might go back to that, it's a possibility. But at the moment, I'm not particularly feeling like it. I'm enjoying myself in Dragonstone at the moment, but I think once that's done, I won't be particularly interested in doing any more Kingdoms and Castles very soon. That said, new updates are incoming, which will bring wacky new stuff. So maybe I'll change my mind and do something new with it. Do another series, maybe just the same sort of thing. Larger maps are also a possibility, though we've found, even on my new PC, which so far has failed to lag in the face of anything, recorded, streamed, or whatever, my new PC build did manage to lag in the face of a population of more than, what was it, 3,000 peasants? So, larger maps, maybe not a good idea. We'll have to see. I could start laying train tracks for my personal commute. Yeah, that makes sense. Let's do that. Let's start implementing our rail network. We won't do much with it yet because we don't need stuff being delivered in particularly, but we would definitely be able to make use of it in our commute because this walking is annoying. Gives me time to read the chat, admittedly. I forgot the red and green signs in my inventory. That's why I went over to the main bus and I was like, why am I here? I'm just going to go again. Damn it, let's go do that. And we'll see if we can get there without forgetting what we're doing this time. We're putting in the signs. We're putting the signs in the labs. Signs in the labs. Signs in the labs. That's what we're doing. We're putting the signs in the labs. Into the labs we are placing the signs. All of the signs we possess, the red and the green, that is what we're doing. We will go to the main bus and we will do that thing. How about destroy the second defense line and add it to the first line? Could do that. The reasons for are compelling. Reasons against are based on my incompetence. If we have 2 lines of defense, then I will actually notice when there's a problem if one line actually fails. And then we'll have a second line to protect us. Hello, Avak. How are you doing? Good to see you here. I am Ribbonworlding, which involves lots of walking in long distances to the east and the west. Right, let's make a crap ton of rails, because I am me, and this is a requirement. There we go with random research we don't need. And let's just... This is the part where we just stand here and hammer the button forever. Oh, we've run out of... Okay, we have to wait till we've actually got some rails made first, and then we can hammer the button forever and send the rails off into the distance. When do the trees arrive? Oh yeah, we can go straight up to the wall. Actually, no, there's a couple of trees there that'll ruin it. As for the other direction, oh, we've got our ore belt all the way along the bottom. Why did I knew I was going to be building this. Why have I done this to myself? Right, what do we need? 1, 2, 1, 2, here. Run this way. This is what we can do while we wait to have all the rails built. Unlike cars, I can also call my train to me like a cab. Yep, that's always convenient. That would absolutely make sense in this save. Because that's the thing, in Railworld, I made the help train, and I can't remember if I ever even used it, but I really love the idea of it, of you just, like, set up a train, and you tell it to go to a station called help. And then all you have to do is make a station, type help, and the train delivers you equipment. And I can totally do that with this. I can set a train to travel to just A, and then plonk down station, build A, or call it A, and then my personal taxi will arrive, ready to deliver me to wherever I want to go. Or maybe I should have a three rail system. Oh, that's tempting. But also very dumb in this particular situation. Because space is a major premium and adding an extra rail just for personal use is absolutely not justified, but I want it. I'm very tempted now. I still wish I'd done that in towns. It would have been so nice in towns just to have a personal rail-based taxi service, and instead I've had to drive around in a game all about rail networks. It's the worst. Haven't even bothered building road infrastructure. Ah, I've just realized this stone is in the way. And that is a problem. And we should solve this, so I'm just going to build a crap ton of storage chests. Because that is how I fix these issues. Put them in chests, deal with it later. Just a big bank of the things. How much stone do we have? It is a 70k deposit. I think this is more than enough. No, it isn't. This can store 50k. So, construction bots. I'm doing well, Avak. I should have been recording videos for a while, and I haven't been. Because I've been getting too distracted by other things. Like Roll For It, and actually playing Factorio again. I've been playing offline. That's the thing, I do have massive multiple month-long breaks from Factorio, but as of recently, I've started to play again. Which is good, because, wait, why am I... What? I went into autopilot, I started tapping random lines I shouldn't be tapping. I could have... I was not paying attention. Right, what is this? What have I done? Why is this a thing? Is this storage? Yes. Why did I store it like this? What is... So this loops round and goes back... There was a reason. Oh, that was it. I was making massive amounts of landfill, so I wanted it to be stored at, like, super high speed. Alright, let's just send that this way. Over to here. Underground belt. This, if I have some, I don't. You think I used it once in Railworld? Yeah, I might have used it one time. Yes, I am actually starting to stream now. I'm responding currently to messages that have been sent like 5 minutes ago, because I'm not doing a good job of keeping track of chat. So I'm just pretending that they've just been said, when it's actually a while back. But yes, Cloud, I'm starting to stream again. I intend for it to become more regular. At some point, I might even have a schedule, which is just unheard of for me. Me actually, like, doing a thing on a regular standard basis? Crazy talk. People in support of having 3 rails. When you're supposed to go to sleep but Bentham is streaming, don't worry, the VOD will be up later. YouTube does it automatically. I can add personal stations to every production. That's the thing, I don't actually need a 3rd rail, do I? I can just have it be part of the rail network. I think it would work fine. Yeah, I can just do it like that. It's not a problem. It'll only become a problem when I use the system, which will be relatively rarely. Iron ore line? What about the iron ore line? Ah, yes. I didn't notice it because I was looking at chat, and then chat told me to look at the iron ore line and be like, oh, there's none. There is precisely 0, because I knew this would happen, but I forgot to actually sort out the other end of it in time. What am I playing besides Factorio? That's the thing. Usually when I play a game, I play it non-stop for like a week and then move on to something else. So things I've been playing a little bit further back. I played Mountain Blade. That impacted my my video upload rate, most definitely. I didn't play it back when it came out. I didn't really know much about it, but I got it in a sale for pennies or whatever. A while back, actually, but I just not got around to it. And I'm like, let's actually see what this is about. And I discovered it's awesome. And I want to play it forever. So I did for a while. And then I was like, I should probably make videos again. And I would totally make videos of Mountain Blade, but it's old. And it doesn't like recording software. It's the sort of game where it's so old that it doesn't understand that people have multiple screens sometimes. And that means that recording is difficult. I'm going to make a bunch more rails because I think we'll always want more. I'm just going to make as many rails as I physically can. Right, let's go for this again. I'm just going to hammer on this button for a while and I can once again go back to reading the chat. Add rails to everything! Yes. There we go, we've hit a tree. And then this one will be here. Usually I would have the spacing a little bit wider, but I only need enough room for signals here, and that will be enough. And it will mean that I can have everything be 2 tiles shorter, and saving space is extremely important. I don't know if Mountain Blade even has a windowed mode. I forgot to check. I just know that if you Alt-tab out, it dies if you try and rejoin it. So it's a problem. But yeah, windowed mode is a very good solution generally to any issues with games that don't like being recorded. But sometimes it's not an option because the games are that old. What else have I been playing? There's something, but I've forgotten and I can't look at my desktop because I'm playing and streaming. And that would be unprofessional to wander off and look at my Steam. Taking game suggestions. How about Robocraft? I played that a fair bit back in the day, and you can blame Avac for that, of course. But since they... shortly before they did that update that completely changed how everything works, I stopped playing, and then I was like, oh, now it's effort to get back into it. And also, I had a really good... I had a really good build that I really liked, and it probably won't work anymore, and now I'm sad. So I never got around to getting back to it. Right, now we run into a significantly larger problem with our rail building. They're mining as fast as their little miney arms can move. Or whatever. But it's going to take a while. What are we at? We've gone through 3,000 of it in not too much time, but yeah, it's going to take a while. Luckily, we're not going to need our rail network for a while. Oh, we got a biter attack. Dun dun dun. That must have been a attempt to colonize, because there is definitely not enough pollution to bother them. But there is going to be over there soon. That's a worry. Those guys are going to start actually attacking, and that's a lot of biters. And that's scary, so we'll have to keep an eye on that. Once this mining is done, the pollution will drop significantly, and we'll be back to mining over here. And then our pollution will be nice and centered and away from the biters over there. And that'll be nice. What do we need at the moment? We need a bunch of stone. Conveniently, we're storing it in significant quantities. What is the button that allows endless rail placement? It's just normal well, there's two kinds of placing. There is just placing as an individual structure, or there is the way that you have to build most rails, which is to build on top of an already built one, and then plan out a route from there. That's the only way to make curved rails now. And so if you just sit your mouse on top of the one you started building on, and then just keep building, it will just build one out, one at a time, and you can run them off into the distance. Also, if you go to build it and you hold down Shift, then it will make an infinitely long one as needed. If you then hold down Shift while you're trying to place, it will come up with It'll then place them as ghost images, and it'll also tell you what you can build even if there are trees in the way, that sort of thing. Can't really demonstrate it here because I've not given myself enough space to work with, but you get the rough idea. Hold down shift or not, depending on what you want to do. That's how you build your rails, that's how you build your curved pieces. And I need to make an updated rail tutorial because it is from years ago and tells you how to place curved rails as an item, and they're not a thing anymore. So I know automated rail, just stone and iron. I'll build it at some point, I don't know. It doesn't take that long to make rails. I'm not going to need that many. Cortex Command. Well, my Steam says I've been playing Cortex Command. That was my attempts to record it earlier today. I haven't played it in, I think I played it like a week ago or something. But yeah, today my attempts to it were, unsuccessful. Divinity, that has all been in the Roll For It series we're doing. I've only played it very briefly outside of that. I'll run this way. Bypass the current bits, so we have some room for rails later, not that we'll be building them particularly soon here. More random science gubbins. Hello, sheepdog. What do you mean, heresy? This is the least heretical Factorio I've put on my channel in weeks. What will the train station look like in this map? It'll look fairly... It'll basically be like the town's ones, but one-sided. It'll be the fairly standard design. Just a little bit compressed. Might be some issues with signaling, actually. I should test it out, thinking about it, because I've just remembered that there might be a reason to not have these spaced so close to each other. So let's build ourselves a test station. Sheepdog is here, everybody panic. We're doomed. Oh, and immediately a message of his has been held for review. I can see why. There we go. Yeah, I'm just going to walk past all this iron so I can actually build my test station. And we'll see what it looks. So, we'll also make some signals. Might even make a train. Can we? We need engines. Can't... I need to set up assemblers to make engines. That's effort. I can't do that. Status on Rodina or Rodina. Rodina. I didn't mean to stop. It like many of my series end with like not with a bang but with a whimper, where for one reason or another I simply stopped putting episodes out one day. I regret it every time, and particularly with Rodina, I fully intend to at some point get back to it. But I just haven't got around to it. I will eventually. Eventually we'll go back to it. There has been a new update recently that's added procedural enemy interiors, I believe. Maybe a couple of other extra things too. That is a reason to get back to it. So, my plan is to do so at some point. And pick up where I left off, pretty much. Despite the fact that a lot of people will no longer have a clue what the game is or what it's about because it's been so long since I ended it. But at some point I'm just going to start again from where I was and carry on with it. Just because it deserves to be finished and I want to see where it goes, and there probably weren't even that many episodes left to do anyway. So I should just finish it off. Okay, so the trains are going to be going this way and this way. We're looking at a clockwise system, but no loops, alas. So a train, if it wanted to come into a station from that direction, would have to come out this far. And then if it wanted to go back and carry on in that direction, it would hop back down like that. So that's fine. Then, if a train is coming from... I remember that that's a thing. Yeah, that's the point. Okay, so scratch that. Actually, no, don't scratch that. That's still a thing. Actually, no, I don't think it needs to be a thing. These stations are probably going to be one way only because any train, like, so say we have a train over here, needs to get to here for whatever reason. It's going back and forth between an ore deposit and the unloading area. It doesn't need to be able to continue on its journey. It just needs to pull in, drop off its cargo, and go back the way it came. So we don't need to actually have them re-merge with that. So all we need is that. And that's a station. We put the station on the end, train pulls in, train pulls out, all is good. And so we just need a lot of those. Random, unimportant signs stuff. So the important thing to do is check that I can signal it nicely, and I mean, I guess we just do that, and that's fine. And then this. Shouldn't be a problem. Train pulls into the station, everything else goes past. It does mean that if a train's coming through here, train has to stop here to let it pass, because I can't fit signals. I can put one there, but that is pointless. That's backwards, in fact. Not at all useful. So that is the issue I have. If I might need the rail to be one higher so that I can fit signals here and allow trains to continue to operate like this, because otherwise we could have some serious traffic issues with trains having to come through each of these junctions. So I'm going to read chat and see what they think of it. Sheepdog, I really hope that that live comment sections are not counted towards monetization in YouTube videos, because if they do, I no longer have that thing. Yeah, two-headed train heresy. Unfortunately, it is all we can afford. Yeah, we can make two-way stations if we need. Train can come in through here, go out through there. Train can come in through here, go out through there. But there's no point, because the station will only be one way, unless we set up something really wacky. Ooh, maybe I sort of want to try that now. Let me just grab some iron, because we have none whatsoever. I can make a single train stop. Damn it, we need steel. Okay, back in a minute. If only we had the train set up already, we could actually take one to get there. Can I make a car? No, still needs engines. You wouldn't build a car. Just gonna ride the conveyor belt. The live stream comments don't get archived. Yeah, but what there might be is if the algorithm finds a way to analyze them, we're doomed. Right, what was I here for? I was here for steel. It's up here. I will steal the steel. Also, random iron ore I don't need. The bottom rail doesn't have the ability to fit a signal. What, you mean out of these two rails? I deliberately set it up so that it can have a signal. This one is this way, this one is this way, therefore the signals can be on the inside and we can have it as compressed as possible. The issue we face is that we can't put signals on any lines going between the two because there's simply not the space. So we've got to work out if we can fix that. Well, if we need to fix it is the more pressing issue, and I think we do, because otherwise we'll have major issues with what sort of throughput our rail network can manage. We need iron. Here we go. And off we go again, and I'm going to make a couple of train stops, and I'm going to see if I can do something weird. I ran down to this rail so I could use it to move quicker, and then was like, oh yeah, it goes the other way. That doesn't work. Damn it. Just gotta move on our own boring, slow feet. A reasonable system wouldn't use the comments you have no control over to analyze. Thus, it is quite possible that YouTube is analyzing the comments section for that purpose. Oh yeah. It wouldn't surprise me. Right, so what I'm thinking is if we have a station here, and then we just extend this a bunch so we can have a bit of room to work with. Right, that station... Oh, we can totally make this work. If I build... Let me just line this up. I'm putting a finger on the screen to mark where I... Oh, that doesn't work. Okay, it only works with an odd number of wagons, I do believe. Yes, but it totally works. Having 3 wagons is really awkward. But if we put a station here... This is still my mock-up essentially, but I can like blueprint this or whatever if I wanted to. And we have this connect up like this, all the usual stuff. And then what we can have is these have the same name. We call them both Iron 1. And then we can just unload iron from the middle 3. And so a train will come this way, it'll be unloaded of iron. Train will come this way, it'll be unloaded of iron. We could even extend it a bit so that we can actually have 4 wagons and then just have filter inserters unloading from the last one on each side. I find that brilliant and awesome, and I'm totally doing it. So yeah, we'll just have double-sided stations like this. Wait, will it work on this side? Let's double check that our signals and everything will operate. As well as can be expected, I think is the answer. We can actually put signals here, which is wrong. That doesn't work. Yeah, I think we're going to have it one further up to be able to function. Oh yeah, the YouTube's algorithm is a mess and misses lots of things that should totally set it off, and sets off a whole bunch of things that totally shouldn't. And it's all terrible and useless. And now that Sheepdog's arrived, I'm getting a lot more messages being held for review. He's having a bad influence on you. This will cause jams and accidents. It shouldn't, though. Really. It could cause congestion issues, definitely. But not much more than anything else would. I think this will work. But I do think we need to up the rail lines by a tile. 'Tis a shame, but I believe 'tis necessary. So let's just tear all this down for a second. We'll just do a little simulation of this junction here to make sure that it is actually operational. More random science. There we go. This here. So this is the new size we'll be dealing with, and for this, signal here, signal here. And have these here. I think that works okay. And then we can have that there, and that is the key. That makes all the difference. That means that this is a separate block to this, meaning that trains can pass through here without having to wait for each other to be in the way. Now, there will only be issues with trains having to wait here if someone is trying to enter or leave a station. Slightly more space is used, but it is probably worth it. And it means that the entire space at the bottom of the map is 8 tiles for standard lines and 14 tiles for stations, plus of course the actual required space for unloading and stuff like that. The junctions will cause blockages without chain signals. Will they, though? Maybe a bit. There might be some reason to have some chain signals. But I think this will work, and if it doesn't, I can just turn it to one-ended stations again, and that will resolve it to a degree. I've got to clear so many rails. Okay, time to read the chat again. You've done this on a Ribbonworld and it does work. Fantastic. All will be well then. Oh, I've got to change the... I've got to move the iron again. Let's just start that now. Get it out of the way. Oh, Sheepy's got to leave. But now who will make comments about things I don't dare make comments about because I want this video to be monetized? Things will be far too sensible with you gone. More flagged things. I like how the first message he sent was flagged and the second one wasn't, despite the second one being the trolling. Right, run this to here, and then we'll try and mine away the rails quick enough to get to the end in time. Till when will I be streaming? Let me see. We've got something in the region of 45 minutes remaining. This is going to be a 2-hour stream. This is the rough plan I'm keeping to with the Ribbonworld streams. Of 2 hours. There we go. The conveyor will speed us up a little bit as we mine. Okay, about 45 minutes remaining, which unfortunately means that you can no longer catch up with the stream before it is over by watching it at double speed while it's still live. Have I ever thought about doing a Mordheim City of the Damned playthrough? I have not. I'll be honest. Now I have, because the thought has jumped into my brain. And the answer is I have no idea if I would or not. I have not played it, so I don't know if I would find it fun. Probably. From what I've heard, it's neat. Is that the new one, or is there another one coming out that's like a sequel, or is that an old one that, like the old one that came out? Because I don't actually know. I would race the ore to mine away the belts as well, but I know I would lose, and I would like the smelting operation to stay operational. So we'll just hang around here and sort that. Oh, I misjudged. Now I've got to wait a whole like 5 seconds. This is unacceptable. There we go. Right, once again hammering the button. I'll chase it as I go. Greetings, Arvid's Godjuks. Arvid's Godjuks is probably your name, roughly, and slightly butchered. Do I know Catherine of Sky? A little bit, yes. Know of her mainly. Occasionally seen her in, like, Discords and stuff, I think. I think I've seen some of her videos. She does cool stuff. I don't watch many other Factorio YouTubers is the thing, which means that I'm embarrassingly ill-informed about other Factorio YouTubers. And yeah, she's turned up in streams and stuff occasionally, so I've seen her a bit. It has been suggested just earlier today that I do a multiplayer series. Such a thing as a possibility. And I also have audio delay. You might have a slight one. Everyone may have a slight thing, because I don't know if everything's properly synchronized. and I can't find the options in the new version of OBS to mess with audio synchronization, so I haven't been able to do any messing about to try and fix it, because I think there might be a consistent slight delay on all videos, which definitely needs fixing. I should really sort that out, but you know, I don't know how to. I'm sure there's a way. I'll work it out. So yeah, in answer to your question, even though I'm not a person watching the stream, probably yes. Oh, you're the maker. You're the eponymous Angel of Angel mods, are you, Archangel? Your sorts of mods scare me. Like, there are a handful of mods that like Bob's mods and things like that that I'm scared to even tackle. Right, I think that this is in a blueprintable state, I reckon. Let's actually put these right up here. That might be better. And I think... Oh, hold on. No, there won't be problems. That's the thing. I keep thinking, hang on, will there actually be problems with this? But there absolutely won't, because the thing is, trains will only ever come from one side and go back the side they came from. So you'll never have an issue where a train parks here and another one is parked here and they're trying to go in opposite directions, because a train will pull into here, park up here, another train might come up here and wait, but the train that's in here will always go back the way it came. And so this will absolutely work, and it'll be really weird to see, I should think. Right, whatever's next. Whatever's next on the list, I will research. I care not particularly about what I do. What kind of new game am I thinking about starting up? I don't know, that's the problem. Whatever suddenly takes my interest next. And you'll find out what that is when it happens. But I'm thinking about it. Overall, I think what I really want to do is just make a lot more, just do a lot more live streams of random games I like. And never particularly new games, just like random old ones that I like to go back to a lot, just to show them off. There's a couple of very old games that I would like to cover on the channel, because I love them and they're amazing. But they're so old that they don't work right now on Windows 10, and they definitely don't record well. So, one in particular, which is a game that no one has ever heard of or played, one that only, like, one person has ever made YouTube videos on, and it wasn't even with commentary, I might be able to get working. I think I can get it to run. It's just effort and getting round to it. And just in case any of you have actually played it, which I doubt a fair bit, it's called State of War. And it's this random old RTS made, funnily enough, by a company in the Czech Republic, which is the same place as where Factorio comes from. And it's not a good game, necessarily, but I always found it really fun. And I just want to show it to everyone. And also show off the funny bits about it, because it has terrible English translations and stuff like that. I'm going to see if anyone in the chat is like, oh my god, I do know that game! And yes, it was terrible, but also fun, and also terribly localized. Like, it's the sort of game where I should start by reading the blurb on the back of the box. Yeah, there's fancy things you can do to make it work. Even though at the moment, if I just put the discs into the external disk drive that I would have to plug into my PC because we live in this modern age, like, it wouldn't work. But I know that I could do a little bit of messing about and some light Googling and installing of programs and fixes and be able to get the things working. It's just, I can't be bothered quite yet. I'll get around to it. Oh, we've got someone who's like, my brother might have played it. Oh, and we've got someone who actually has the copy. Have you read the blurb on the back? It's brilliant. It's the best. I love localizations where you can actually absolutely work out what they were trying to say, but they just didn't quite get it. They were really close. Is already considering double-headed train heresy. Why not add T-junctions into a roundabout so I can have roundabout heresy instead of no double-headed trains? What? That sounds... I'm not even sure what you're going for there, but that sounds like a terrible, terrible idea. Right, I'm going to blueprint this, and this is going to be our station design for the entire game, probably. There we go. Get rid of those random belts. And yeah, this should work for potentially everything. That's all set up right. Yep, that's all working as well as it can work. There's our station. That only took like half the episode because I was constantly getting distracted by talking to people. I would be surprised if GOG has State of War. But it would be a very, very pleasant surprise. I'd get that immediately. That's the thing. There was a sequel. There was a State of War 2, and I don't have that, and I want it. Because it just seems to be a wackier, crazier version of the original. Let me see. Has anyone else said that they've heard of it? Oh, Commando M Games says they know it. Yep, there are a few people who know it, but it is so unknown and minor that no one has ever made an actual proper Let's Play of it. Some people have uploaded videos of them completing a level in silence. There's like 2 people who've done that. And I just find that awesome that there is this game that I know and love and have played for hours and hours that just nobody knows about. And is dumb and fun. It's great. Right, what to be getting on with now? Our rails are in place, but there's not much we can do with them at the moment because we don't need anything. We're drowning in every resource. To the point where we can't even finish building our rails, though we're making a decent amount of progress with this stone. What are we at? Okay, we're a bit of a way off actually finishing that off. How about the stone? Ah, we're not even halfway there. The 4-hour estimation was not even... I guess that was about right, actually. We've got like half an hour yet. Yeah, let's get back on with... Oh, we could set up oil. We'll start setting up military science first. We'll get that out of the way. And then we'll get to oil. So... should we start with ammo? Nah, we'll just start with the actual assemblers. So just run them along here. I believe it's 5 we want. Yes, it is, because it's 10 seconds to make 2. This is immediately in the way. Let's try and send it elsewhere. Oh, there's really not any space. We can make space. We'll have to make a lot of space. Okay, we can run it down here. So what I'm thinking is cut these 2 lines. Yep, 2 is enough. Do this and this. More signs. Oh, and we are out, as of this one, of signs we can do without getting a new type of science pack. So we should definitely see about getting this done nice and fast. I just annihilate all this. Put a balancer in, but send it like this way. Let's do that, and then merge here. Gives us some room. This way, we'll just go underground because it's easier than worrying about that power pole. Then we can go down, under here. Whoops. And just bypass all this without worrying too much. And it's a problem for another day. Yeah, the top row of stone miners is done. I'll demolish them when I'm actually over there. Right, that's that sorted. So now we want 2 lines here. And we'll have one be ammo and one be other stuff. So we'll have... you know what? We'll have the actual other stuff run down from that direction just to keep it out of the way. What sort of production do we need of ammo to keep the science running? We need 1 every other second, I believe. Yes, 1 every 2 seconds. So 2 of these will do. And that means, yeah, we literally can make this with like 3 assemblers if we like. I'll make it 4. Just to be efficient and have a little bit of excess. So let's just build them like alongside these. Let's actually make sure there's enough space, because why would I not do that? Can we have it all on one side? Technically, we can, and I think we'll do that. Yep, so we only need 1 of those and then 3 of these. If I've got the right way around, yep, makes 1 per second and then uses 1 every 3 seconds. 3 of them will use 1 per second. Everything will work out nicely. Get these out of the way, move them by a tile. This will be our ammo line. Yeah, that works fine. Oops. Do that. Then 2 belts running along this side. We need lots of iron, lots of copper, small amounts of steel, and ammo. So we can't do most of those things because of this. Now it is becoming a genuine problem. We will have to deal with it soon. Gonna just run an underground. I've made a mess of this. There we go. Clean up all the rubbish I've made there. So what we'll do is we'll have the first line be a mix of iron and copper. So for that we'll have that sort of system. That sort of system. And then we'll have all the science be done and nothing else to do. We'll set up some military science ready. Nothing much matters. Let's just research flamethrowers. Why not? They're always fun. Split off of the iron. Split off of the copper. Oh, the copper's not even going to be here, is it? It's actually going to be... None of these belts are going to have anything on them for the moment. In fact, for that reason, we should totally run these lines along these belts, because they're currently not in use. Later on, they'll start to be in use again, but in the meantime, they're the perfect place to put the signs. Right, as I was. Yeah, so the copper's actually going to be split off from all the way up here. And we'll just have it like so. We'll actually make this go like that. It looks a little bit nicer to my eyes. And, yeah, that's fine. Just gotta wait for it to actually be operational. And then in the meantime, steel will be somewhere. I'm gonna say it's gonna be here. So what we'll do is we'll split off and bring it down here. And the side of the belt is very important. It must be on the left side. So the steel will come to the left side of the belt, run down here. There'll be copper here. Then this will be loaded with the iron. It will unload the ammo onto this side of this belt, which can then be loaded back onto these. So that unloads, whoops, there. Might need 2 of those for the throughput. We'll have to see. Need a bunch more of these. And I can just like craft a stack of them or whatever. Not like I'm never going to use them. That loads there. These will have a similar thing. That should do. That should be enough. We'll see how it goes. Then these guys will unload here. Then we'll have these guys here. What's everyone saying? Well, lots of large comments at the moment. This is a lot to read through. People talking about like number pads and laptops and whatever. I don't know. I missed the start of the conversation, so I've just jumped in the middle and have no idea what's going on. I think about doing a Railworld series when 0.16 lands and is more or less stable. That would not be a bad idea. That's probably something I'll do. The arrival of 0.16 is as good a time as any to start a new series, and I was meaning to start one and then didn't, and so I might as well start one with a bang. The update coming out will spur me to actually get on with it, I suppose, is a good way of putting it. Oh, I've not... I had these... Oh, these in the middle. That'll work nicely. There we go. So yeah, that'll be a good idea. Starting a series with 0.16. Depends how long it's going to take, because if it's a million years, then I will probably start a series in the meantime, maybe. And if it's going to be in a week, then I'll definitely start a new series with it. There we go. This is all ready for when the stuff is actually running down the line. And so yeah, already the actual ammo is being made. It's just none of the components for the armor-piercing ammo are ready. So in the meantime, we can set up the next thing. And I have a pretty standard design for this. When it comes to making grenades and turrets, I always go back to the same thing, which is iron belt down the middle, extra gubbins on the sides, output belts also on the sides. Nice and standard. Don't even need to choose what goes on what side till the last moment. Should be fine. So on one side we'll have gears and copper. On the other side we'll have coal. Where's it going to be easier to do stuff? It's going to be slightly easier, I think, to do grenades on this side. Because there's a bit of wackiness going on here that's going to interfere with things. And we'll have turrets on this side. There we go. Iron line in the middle, piece of cake to do. Why am I diverting the iron belts? That's not how we do this. We split. We split off the belts. Like a sane person. And we get our rotations correct instead of just throwing iron everywhere. And then over here we make a bit of space for the coal line that can at some point come down here when it's actually ready. Whoops, someone tagged me. Maybe I should actually read the chat again. Something about smelters not having to... Have I got steel belted? Not yet. I will at some point when it matters more. I put you in a difficult position. You were planning on playing Factorio, but now you've got to watch me. That's why you get 2 monitors. That's what that's for. So you can play games and also watch other people playing the same games at the same time. That's what I use it for. Though I'm pretty sure that there is some sort of like inverse law about productivity in monitors. Of the more monitors you have, the less productive you are, because you can't focus on anything anymore. Because there's always something happening on the other screen that you must see. I don't know why I'm putting all these belts in, they're not necessarily going to exist. Right, this can run down here, like so, and then we have this. Split off, loop it round. Messy but functional. And then over here we clear away all this again just after making it because it shouldn't exist. Doesn't make sense. And we put this here. Goes onto this side. Goes down there. That's all good. Gotta have our million inserters in the middle. Disclaimer, million is not actually the amount, it is 10. Really, there's no... They're exactly positioned so there is no connection between these two things. There. Right, so this is all ready to run. All I have to do is hook in the actual components. And we'll be golden. So they go there. They go there. That all works fantastically. That's our system. Now to actually have any of the things be delivered to where they need to go. We've got through one more miner. How's the deposit doing? Not even got through 100k of it. But that estimation of 4 hours so far is looking like it's spot on. It's just that there's going to be like another half an hour at the end where we've got lots of little bits that are going to take forever to mine. What is a gubbin? It is nothing, really. It's general... anything. Bits and bobs are gubbins. I believe it's a UK term. If I have a new Factorio series, will it be in real time rather than triple speed? It'd probably be triple speed because that's what I'm known for, and people like it. And so I see no reason not to keep doing that, and I'm already now doing some real-time Factorio in the form of Ribbonworld. So you're already getting your fix of that, so do some fast-forwarded stuff instead, even though that's what Towns is. I've just not put a video out on that for a very long time. It's not stopped per se, it's just a very long gap between episodes. Just a very long gap between episodes for just, no particular reason. Now that I'm back into playing Factorio again, I'm more likely to get back to recording Towns. It just takes a bit of effort to do. Like, it is easier to stream for 2 hours than to make a triple speed Factorio episode. It takes more than 2 hours to do that. You are with a laptop, you can still have 2 screens with a laptop as long as you have any sort of, like, if you've got a HDMI port or a VGA port in the side of that thing, you can plug something in. That's how I had 2 monitors for like 2 years. More than 2 years. How long did that was a very long time where I was just running off a laptop with a second monitor in the side. Only reason I didn't try upgrading to 3 was because there was only one HDMI port. And so it simply wasn't physically possible. And now I have a PC with 2 screens, and also the laptop acting as a 3rd screen. It's been demoted. Once it ran my channel, in its glory days, it was able to just about record Factorio in 1080 without dying. But now it has been demoted quite significantly, and is basically just now a Discord machine. I'm sorry, old laptop. You deserve better. You served me so well. But it's retirement. It's a nice, relaxing change from the old situation. You no longer slowly melting. You're much less likely to suddenly ignite one day. Now the thing is that this iron is also a problem, because at some point we're going to want to run a railway through here, and that is definitely in the way, so we sort of need to be mining that as well. But we really shouldn't, because we're already struggling with this. In fact, we're running out of storage space. We definitely need more of that, so let's put more of that in. Only we need a huge amount. But let's make a huge amount, just in case. Thinking a bit of a gap. Gives us a bit more room to unload stuff later when we want to move it somewhere else. I'm just going to add an entirely new set. Also a new stack of fast inserters, because you never don't need a stack of them. And there should be more than enough to store all of the iron that comes out of that deposit. And what we can do is run this down here. We don't want to connect it up there, because if we merge it, then this belt will slow down, because it's trying to, like, anything less than half a belt will be slowed down by it. But what we can do is a fancy little system here, where we load the ore onto the side here. So the ore will only load onto this belt if there's room for it. That way the belt will be full, but this will all continue to work normally. Have I heard of Synergy, which would allow me to use a single keyboard and mouse to control my laptop from my PC as if it were a third monitor? Neat idea, but I don't know if I particularly want that. I like that it is a completely separate thing and there's no weirdness with it's nice to just have it be a separate machine, and then there's certain extra things I could do with it for that. For example, if I'm playing Mountain Blade and I can't tab out because it would die, then I can look up something on my laptop without it being a problem. Alright, that's that sorted. We can leave. And so this is going to be running a lot quicker now, and it's going to fill up a lot faster, but that should be okay. Also, I'm going to actually shut down some miners over in that mining area because I want to focus on the bottom strip. The stuff that I'm actually going to want to build rails over, which is from here up to here. So yeah, more than enough. If anything, we want to bring those miners down a bit. At the moment, these aren't running, and that is no good, so I'm going to shut all these down. I can put them back later. Just want these running fast as they can. For some reason, the sides are different. I don't know why that is, so I'm going to balance it. That should help get things running. Oh, of course it needs balancing because they're all on one side now. That does make sense. In that case, I can help to fix things a bit in the meantime by doing... how do you do this? I keep forgetting the way. That's the one. Get them loading on the outside so it's even. Add more smelting, then store plates. Not a bad idea, to be fair. Probably should do that because at the moment we're not using all of our iron, and later on we probably will be. And we'll need more. Be nice to have a buffer. Are people talking about fancy stuff where you mount monitors at the foot of beds and stuff? Neat idea, but you should not use your bed for watching TV and things like that because it will make it harder for you to sleep. Because you will not associate your bed with sleeping as much as you currently do. All that sort of thing. That same reason you shouldn't really be on your phone when you go to bed and stuff like that, and so I try and avoid that. Because I like to be able to easily get to sleep. And so I would not want to rewire my brain to not want to try and sleep while I'm in bed. Sounds like the worst thing. And then there's mention of how someone had a 24-inch monitor fall from a wall mount. And I imagine that did not go well for the monitor. You tried the no crafting challenge? It's the only game of Factorio where you successfully made a rocket. That's interesting. What was the reason for that, though? Was it that the way you built your factory made it easier to get to the end game? Or was it that you were more interested in completing the game and actually launching the rocket because you were doing a fancy challenge? Yeah, it is annoying that I went to all the effort of making an entire series in which I do that challenge. And then like a year or whatever later, they add it as an achievement. But I would have to do the thing again to actually get the achievement. And I can't be bothered doing that again. That's so much work. Maybe one day, probably not on a stream or anything, I'll just, in my off time, play it just so I have the achievement, because I have a reputation to maintain. I need to have those achievements. So I've actually started playing games of Factorio on my Steam copy, so I can earn them. And not look like I'm less experienced than I should be. Right, I need to go hook up steel to the line. I need to set up like so much smelting and stuff. I keep walking to the main bus and then being like, I shouldn't be here. I need to go back again. Yeah, we need coal and steel. I'm going to do coal first, because coal is easy. Wait until I have a logistic system and have like 20 million iron and copper ore stored up. That's the thing, if you get your ore settings just slightly wrong, you spend the rest of the game sometimes with like either paving over or storing it in stupid quantities. And I am generally the latter in that particular situation. I'm making a meal of this. I don't know what I'm trying to do here. I should really stick with the same pattern as the rest of the miners are following instead of trying to change direction. Just be normal. Line it up normally. And just have a nice long column. Makes more sense, really. Run this way. And it can go off over that way, sort of. Sneak around the mine. Not the miners, the steam engines. How are they doing? Oh, we're fine for power. How has our power been recently? It's slowed down a lot because at the moment, well, we're out of science. We're not doing any research right now, so there's very little that the factories are actually doing. Run this way, and this will be this line. I don't know if we need a full belt of it. Are we? We're only going to be using it for the grenades, nothing else. Everything else we're using coal for will most likely be in our oil area. So we don't need a massive amount of throughput of it. We could perhaps get away with a half belt. But for the moment we'll go for a full one, and we'll start worrying about those sorts of things more if we start to run out of belt real estate. 4 full belts for miscellaneous gubbins is probably plenty, especially considering it's only miscellaneous gubbins that are entering at the beginning of the main bus, because then our copper gets used up and makes space. So that should be fine. Next up, steel. Oops, ah! Oh, don't do that. Steel will run on the 4th line. And we'll just bring that along here somewhere and work out what we're doing. Probably time for a bit of landfill, I think. Also, we're out of belts, but conveniently, we've just arrived at our chest full of belts. Continuing on, don't need this anymore. Just sneak past this. Oops, I didn't need to get rid of that. A lot of people are tagging me. What are you on about? Sleep is for the weak. Correct. Not really correct. I like sleep. Sleep is good. Lack of sleep makes me slow. I don't like to record when I'm slow. Therefore, lots of sleep means more videos for you. Your second monitor keeps changing its input on its own. That is a shame. It's like... It's annoying when you get issues like that with technology where it's like... It works, but sometimes it just annoys you. It just does something dumb and you gotta fix it. Constantly. I have a weird thing where my, if I switch, like, if I switch my second monitor on too quick, then my PC decides that that is the main monitor, but only for the first 5 seconds, and then it switches back to the right one. But sometimes it calls monitors 1 and 2 opposite names, and is really confusing. Right, I now actually want to sidestep this by a tile. It's going to be awkward. It's going to cause all sorts of... Why did I shouldn't cut that. It's making more work for me. I'm thinking just another furnace column right next to this one. And let's do a bit of landfilling. Let's try and be efficient with our use of stone, even though we have plenty of stone. Damn it! Messed it up already. There. Just run this all the way up. Did we actually get around to fishing? Yes, we did. We got 80 fish. Let's get some more. I think there's some nearby. Yeah, you get 5 fish per fish. Ridiculous amounts. Whoops. It's weird that the landfill works this way, that if you position it right, you can fill in 4 tiles at once with a single tile of landfill. I don't get the logic, but I'm not going to complain because it's easier for me. Oh no, I've messed it up. Ah, there we go, it's fine. Yeah, just scale this all back a bit. Don't remove it entirely because actually we don't need it for water, do we? We have our void water of doom to supply us all of the corrupted demon water we would ever need. You never build a rocket and your playtime's around 500 hours. Oh, your total playtime. Okay, so it's multiple saves. Because playing one save for 500 hours without launching a rocket is a bit weird. But having 500 hours in Factorio and never having built a rocket is fairly reasonable to my eyes. Like, there are plenty of times where I get bored of a playthrough before I build the rocket. I'm like, yes, I could. I would just need to make stupid amounts more throughput of iron and copper. Everything else is fine. And so it makes sense sometimes to just get bored and be like, and just move on, do another one. If you're more interested in doing different kinds of fancy early games than doing the late game, then why not? I have, like, the vast majority of my saves are unfinished. I often get to, like, having all the science done and then I don't launch the rocket. Yeah, I can make a highway using belts. It's not a bad idea. I can even run it in the middle of, like, the rail lines or something, so I'm not even using any extra space. Just a blue belt running one way and one running the other way. Or I could have a road running along here that sort of doesn't interfere too much with things. At some point, I will just pave the entire ribbon with concrete, because that's not hard. This isn't right. Is it there? No, it's there. You need... Yep, perfect. Actually, put another... We can expand our copper in that direction as well. So we do not even have to worry about switching over furnace lines. I did it. I said the sentence. It was difficult because it's getting very late. And the stream is going to end soon. Because it's only going to get worse from here otherwise. That was far too many false starts. Everyone's talking about the monitors being weird if they switch them on too soon. And stuff like that. Wait, the Q button to copy something. I always forget that I can do that. That I can literally just tap Q on something and the thing jumps into my hand. That's no problem. I started playing in 0.8. I'm still programmed with the 0.8 key combinations. Do you want to know something? My mouse buttons are swapped. Every time I get a new copy of Factorio, I have to go into the options, the control options, and swap every single mouse-based, well, okay, like some of the mouse-based things. And so mining and building are opposite buttons for me. Because in 0.8, they were that way around. And then they were like, wait, everyone else does it the other way around, including Minecraft, and so it would be dumb to have everyone reprogram their brains from the Minecraft system to our system. So, they changed it. But when that update came out, I went, I'm going to deal with this later because I've learned it this way now. So I just changed the key bindings, and then I never got round to changing it. And so since 0.8, I have been playing with the mouse buttons reversed. And I can't play with it the other way around. It's ridiculous. I'm waiting for the response of, are you serious? Because try going into Factorio and playing it with those buttons. It's terrible. It took me ages to learn, but then I'd learned and I didn't want to unlearn it. Because it would be just as much work. So this is just how I play now. I place with right mouse button, I mine with left mouse. It's great. Okay, let's... This stuff's barely running. That's the thing, we're not making any iron anymore. Concrete it now. Can I do that now? I totally can just make concrete now, actually. It would use up some of the iron ore we're building up. Not a terrible idea. Maybe I'll do that then. Let's just send this way. We need room for the coal. Where do I even fit this in? What did I do for... What did I do for this one? I did wacky stuff that I can't easily recreate. Wait, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7... I can't even send a red belt under this. It's too messy. How do I get the coal over here? Oh dear. Your longest map was 240 hours on 0.13 without a rocket. Impressive work. What were you doing the whole time? Beppo Venerdi drops coffee mug. I know, it's madness. That's something special there. New challenge. Play Factorio with default settings. Oh no. I couldn't do it. It'd be the worst. Maybe it would cure me though. And then I have to go back through all my copies of Factorio and rechange the key bindings. Now let's see. How do fix? How can solve? I'm just gonna, like... Let's do that. And then just split it off here. Oh dear. It's getting late, and so it's easier to do this wacky mess-aroundy stuff. What time are we on? We have actually, as of a few seconds ago, passed the 2-hour mark, so the end is nigh. We will soon be finishing. Let's just do that. And then put this into here. But then what I think I'll do is make this into a steel column because our iron is fine at the moment. So steel column would not be a bad idea. Just to really kickstart that production. So to make a steel column, we do the same as normal, but on every other miner. And then we have inserters going into the second smelters. And then we unload from those. We have ourselves 8 smelters worth of steel being produced once I actually put in the coal feeding inserters, which I will do now. And they just go everywhere. Oops, that's not right. I messed it up at the end. There. Wait, what have I... Oh, I know what I've done. I put the fast inserters in slightly the wrong place and it messed with my brain. And then I've got to actually have this belt here, and these can go. Actually, we'll do the same thing as before. We'll have these come off. We'll merge them. We'll send them over to this, and they can hook up to this just like they did before. As for the steel, that can go underground here. Merge with the other belt, and they'll be off on their way to the main bus. This can all go. Is no longer relevant. And it can go up there and connect to that. And we will have ourselves some steel. Probably too much steel and not enough iron being made at this point. But whatever. We'll fix it later. We've got a crap ton of iron ore that we don't need. I'm just going to put this straight into chests because that would make some sense. Wait, wrong keys. Key bind. There we go. Sorted. So one's saying, can easily resplit the iron input since the original was coming from the west, but it's east, and unless planning, it's getting too late. People are giving me advice. I'm no longer able to visualize what they're trying to explain. What is that belt doing? Think of the children. Which belt? Let's go look at it a lot. Oh, this belt here is a... It's like, I don't want to deal with this mess, so I won't. I'm going to go over here and make a new mess elsewhere. I hope they can still gather off that. I think they can. If they can't, we'll find out. The important thing is... Oh, I didn't even need to do that little sidestep there. I'm not fixing it. You're going to have to deal with that. Why is there only one side of this covered? Have all the miners died? Oh, I only ever had 2 miners. Oh, there's... 2 miners might not be enough to feed this system. We'll see. How's that going? That's all fine. Steady progress. Right, back to this. So yeah, the steel is on its way. Taking its time, but that's fine. Gonna have plenty of time when it is waiting for me to sort out the iron situation. You don't know what you did, but it worked, and you never launched a rocket. Did you hear about the Italian chef? He passed away. I've not heard that one before. It's alright. Crickets. Remember the steel already on the end of the iron. Oh yeah, that's... well, that could be my personal supply of steel. Right, I think it's the day of reckoning. Let's start tearing some of this stuff down. Basically all the ones after the first two. And then we'll re-implement it like this. Actually, I'm going to shift everything up by 1 because it looks like it would line up a little bit neater that way around and be mined just a tiny bit quicker. And the quicker this gets mined out, the happier I'll be. Because it is a bit of a mess. Oh, I don't even need to necessarily do it on that side. We sort of do. Yeah, right. Okay, let's make a whole bunch of these. It's going to require us to just pick up all of the iron. Didn't think to get some while I was back at the base. Let's just start with like 10 of them. What do we need? Lots. Many. Let's just clear out all this stuff because it's all wrong. Actually, that one was alright, but it's too late. It's done. Can I do this way around? I totally can. That's very convenient. Connect that, connect that, connect that. Power poles stored in here. Nice and neat. Then we get to this insanity. Running out to here. And this one. Do we have enough? Probably not. Yeah, we've used what? 12 so far. 1, 2... Oh no, no, don't manually make the gears. That's a terrible plan. I didn't realize we were out. Let's go pick up a bunch of them. Oh, messages were retracted. 2 at once. What happened? I missed it. Run up this and grab what we can. We've got far too much in the way of circuits now, but whatever, we'll use them eventually. A few more of these, and we can carry on running this down. Damn it, don't need that. We'll fix this shortly. And then the ultimate wackiness, we're doing some belt braiding. We're going underground belts under underground belts. Except we can't do that. But we can potentially do that. Will allow us to sneak out the side, but then we can't power everything, I don't think. We can if we use a medium power pole. There we go, that'll do it. It's messy, but it works, and it'll keep the mining running while the factory can continue to be built around it. Because I refuse to leave this iron. No iron shall be left out to die. No iron shall be forgotten. No iron shall be left behind. That was what I was trying to say. But it's getting late. There we go. Everything's bypassed. The factory continues to run as normal. Like it never happened. And the mining continues. Not quite as fast as before. But still fairly fast. And there we go. And that's good. And we are at exactly 100k. So we're halfway through what we had sometime around the start, a little bit before the start of the stream. It's now going to take a fair bit longer than an hour to finish it off, 2 hours even, but it'll get there. And we no longer need to worry about it because everything is connected up. Where's the steel? Oh, we haven't actually connected it on the other end. I forgot that bit. That's sort of important. It's got to actually... There we go. So the steel will go into there. Then we'll need this to go underground briefly. Like so. And then we can split off the coal. Send that way. Where's the steel? Have you arrived yet? Oh, I've missed another bit. I can't reach it. I have to just run over a bunch of belts. There we go. There. Now the steel's running. Momentarily, everything will be operational. Already, we are making the turrets. And now we're also making the grenades. And as of in a moment, we'll be making our armor-piercing ammo. I love it when a plan comes together. Now we can just watch and see all the science being done. We can make a neat gun for the people who are still alive. And that'll probably be where we end for this stream. Let's see if we can catch up with what everyone's talking about. In chat, there's a couple of puns. I don't know why there are puns, but they are a thing now. Many. It's all one man is responsible. I think Factorio should implement a whole underground layer to build on. Interesting idea. I'd say that's a realm from mods. Mods have already been able to experiment with that sort of thing. Perhaps creating an underground region in a map is within the reach of mods. Most things are within reach of mods, I found. Modders are crazy and can do all sorts of wacky things. But what I want to see, and I've said this before, is the long Factorio, which is where you can step from one Factorio world to another, transporting goods with you, and then build highly intelligent robots in airships that can transport goods from one world to another, so you can set up factories in multiple worlds, but iron cannot cross, because that is the rule of the long Earth. Iron cannot be stepped with. If you step holding iron, you'll leave it behind. So don't make your stepper box out of iron, because then you'll leave half your box behind and you'll never be able to return. And then there's just an infinite line of worlds in either direction. Sort of like this, in a sense, but this is very different idea of it. But yeah, I would love, in many games, to be able to step between worlds like they do in the Long Earth, because that is an awesome concept, and I love it. And I need to read the final book, but I want to read the entire series again before I read the final book, because it's been too long since I read the last ones. Steel belt missing a belt. I think that was from earlier, because now it's fine. That's the thing, I'm very behind on the chat. Oh, and there we go with our first bit of military science. Next up, I don't know, explosives or energy shields? We're getting ahead of ourselves here. Turret damage. That's something that can actually directly affect us right now in terms of our ammo usage and stuff. Actually, does Factorio do that, the underground stuff? Because I forget what Factorio even does. I lose track of what's what. I got it mixed up last stream with the warehouse mod, I think. No, wait, no, I got the warehouse mod mixed up with Factorio. Factorio is the one where you can go inside smaller factories, right? That's that one. That sort of thing. It's confusing. I don't play mods that much. Usually, if I've got bored of vanilla Factorio, I just stop playing Factorio and play other games instead. And then when I want to play Factorio again, I play vanilla because I want to play Factorio again. That's my situation with a lot of games, and so I don't play mods that much in games, because if I'm bored of the game, I'm bored of the game. Now let's put lights everywhere, because I've forgotten, and I'm sure it's getting really bad for everyone. And there's also lovely spots to put lights in this particular area. That's very nice. There as well. How about there? And one there. Say goodbye to your blood then. No, it's okay. Iron in blood is I think, diluted enough to be fine. You do not leave a cloud of human-shaped... a human-shaped cloud of iron particles behind when you step. But pure iron is too much and will be left behind. I think maybe you can take steel, I don't know. But pure iron cannot step is the rule. Yeah, Factorismo gives the factories. There's Cloud shouting about lights. Did you shout about lights before or after I started building more lights? Research speed modules so I can mine the resources quicker. That's a point. I could use those. That's actually vaguely... There's a sort of a point to that. I would need advanced circuits first, of course. And for that I would need oil. And that is going to be, I'm pretty sure, the project for the next stream. That'll be what we're tackling next time around. And if I can catch up on the chat, only mod you ever tried was turning coal into oil, and then they put it into the core game. But you didn't want to start a new world, so you've been taking a break. Well, you don't need to start a new world when an update comes out. You can usually update your current world to it without an issue. You would have been able to update to 0.15 and then been able to use the coal liquefaction in your old save. But I like making oil systems that run entirely off coal liquefaction, so it's just stupid amounts of coal being delivered to, like, 30 refineries, doing coal liquefaction with 3 level 3 productivity modules in each, because I just refuse to mine more oil, damn it, on principle. In protest of liquids in general. I will liquefy as much coal as I can, which actually doesn't make sense when you say it out loud, and out of the context of Factorio. Also, my god, is iron dead. Iron is just gone. Right, that'll be a thing for next stream as well. Next stream, fixing iron, implementing oil, doing the wacky oil things. Feed hundreds of thousands of people an iron-rich diet, perform blood transfusions between worlds, pull iron out as required, then back to original people. Not really viable, I would say. Like, you're not gonna make much money from that. You might as well just transport mining equipment over to the world and mine your iron there. I feel like that's an easier option, to be honest. The next Expanse series is coming out in 4 days. I have not properly watched the current one so far, but I might then, if that's happening. That'll be nice. What this time? Research laser turrets. I don't build them much, but everyone complains at me that I should, so maybe I will this time. Actually, yeah, 0.15 was a very large update in terms of a lot of recipes, so it was factory breaking. It was the update that broke Railworld's back for me. It was the final nail in the coffin for that series at that point, where it's like, I'm not rebuilding all the science and changing up the entire factory. It would be quicker to just start a new game and build a new factory entirely from scratch than to fix Railworld, I feel like, and make it run all the science and do a decent rate of science, like a science pack per second of everything. I didn't give it the throughput for that sort of thing. Read the books, good idea, might do that. I assume you're talking... I don't actually know which books... I'm guessing... There's Expanse books, right? That's what they're based off, so I'm guessing you're telling me to read the Expanse books. Might do that, sounds like a good idea. Must be good, they made a series out of it. When do I plan on streaming again? Soon, TM. I would like to stream at least weekly, but at the moment I'm just streaming whenever there's a particular day where I feel like that would be a good idea. You don't have any mining equipment that wouldn't contain iron, but yeah, if you're living in the long earth, you build mining equipment that can get away with not being made of iron. It might not work as well, but it just needs to be good enough to mine any sort of iron, and then you send over machinery that can make more miners out of the iron you mine. Basically, you play Factorio in the real world. That sort of thing. Go nuke Railworld so it has a fond farewell. Not a bad idea, might do that. I haven't made the finale yet, and I should have, but as you've already worked out, I'm bad at ending series. And so, Living with Biters and Railworld and Rodina and Cortex Command, The Long Dark and Production Line. Man, I've left a lot of dead series behind me. I mean to finish every single one. I have a plan every time and it just falls apart. It's always been because there's been some big change, like getting a new PC. I gestured at my PC, you can't see me, I've got no webcam. I do own a webcam, I've not tried doing face cam stuff yet. If you like seeing my face for some reason, I don't know why. But if you want to see my face, I do face cam on Roll For It, which you should totally watch because it's the best thing. And I'm immensely proud of it, and it's great. And I've completely forgotten where I was going with this, but yeah, occasionally like changes in my life will mean there's disruptions that mean that a series ends up dying, and so getting a new PC killed, sort of killed Cosmeteer. Well, actually no, what killed Cosmeteer was the new update and breaking my save. I can still go back to that maybe. I'm going to stream that. That was the plan. I'm going to stream Cosmeteer at some point, and I'm going to wrap things up in that way. It's going to be a buildy stream. I'm going to be building a very big ship for most of the stream, and then spending the last little bit of it fighting with it. That's the idea. That will probably be the next one, because apparently Cortex isn't going to cooperate, so you're not going to be seeing any of that. But you will be seeing Cosmeteer, and continuing Ribbonworld streams, and any other wacky things I might consider, and at some point State of War, when I can get that running, and work out how to capture it properly, because it's weird. Like, it's one of those games that is so old, that the menu is a different program to the game. You select your level, and then what you're in closes and is replaced by a new, differently sized window containing the game. That's my main issue right now with recording that thing. It's just going to have to be monitor capture, I think, and then just hoping it works. We'll see. But I will play that at some point. I might stream it just to introduce people in real time and get their opinions on things, because I don't know what this game looks like to someone who hasn't played it from start to finish multiple times in the past, like, 15 years. Anyway, I've been talking for far too long, and this has gone on a lot longer than planned, and I've not been doing anything in the factory for the past, like, 20 minutes, just because I've been talking to people in chat. But we will end it now, because my voice is dying. Talking for this long is, like, pretty much without a break is difficult, which is why I like doing, like, multiplayer stuff when it's long, because when I'm doing the stuff with Peachy and Sheepdog, I only have to talk a third of the time. And sometimes I can just let them talk amongst themselves and be funny while I build the factory, and it's great. But when it's myself, 2 hours of constant talking really wrecks your voice. Like back in the day when I did, like, Railworld for the first time, 20 minutes of solid fast talking destroyed my throat. I could not record more than one of those in a day. You can probably at this point start to hear it going. I can feel it going as every second passes, so I'm going to finish it here. We're done. We've got our military science, we're doing the research, that's all fantastic. The rate is terrible because the iron is dead. Next episode we will fix iron, and we will start working on oil to get blue science operational. We'll see how far we get with that. And Ribbonworld will continue, and hopefully this will actually get to, like, rocket launching levels, and I won't get bored and leave before it's done. And, because this is a live stream series, maybe that will mean it doesn't die. And also because it's a Factorio series, and they die less often. They still sometimes die, but less much. What about Sheepdog? Is he here? He's not here. You're panicking about nothing just because I mentioned his name. I invoked him. He will arrive now. I'm sorry, Ingsmaster, that you just got here. It's just, it's like that sometimes. There's always going to be someone who arrives as I leave. But yes, we're done. That's our plan next time. 2 hours every time. Maybe becoming regular. Don't know. I'll just stream when I want to stream. And you'll just have to hope that you're here at the right time or watch the VOD, because they will always be out shortly after the stream ends. And so with that, I shall say goodbye. Thank you for watching. And I shall see you next time.